Welcome back. You're watching Sky News' live coverage of the fact that it's 100 days to go, precisely 100 days to go before the general election. And I'm live here in the constituency of Middlesbrough South and East Cleveland. It's a marginal seat there. It's a crucial seat. It's held by Labour at the moment and has been held since the seat was created in 1997 by Labour. But the Conservatives have been consistently closing the gap. At the moment, the majority after the 2010 general election was 1,677 votes in favour of Labour. And the significance of this seat is, come election night, if the Conservatives do take it, it would signal on an overall a national swing similar to this. It would signal that the Conservatives are on course to get an outright majority. Of course, if they don't get seats like this, then it could be a tough night for them. Let me take you through some of the economic arguments, some of the economic statistics that will be informing how people vote in constituencies like this. Let's look at unemployment first of all. It stands, in actual fact, at 6.5%, which is a sliver or two below the national average. Now, if we look at youth unemployment in the 18 to 24 age group, those receiving job seekers allowance, well, that stands at 28%, and that's above the national average, which is 22%. House prices aren't doing too well here. The increase in house prices is below the national average. But let's concentrate now on that statistic about youth unemployment and the prospects then for young people as they consider how they vote and how they would wish to vote. Some of them aren't old enough to do so at the Prior Perslove College where I am. I'm joined now by students Jessica Belch, who represents Stockton in the Youth Parliament. She strongly supports the voting age to be reduced from 18 to 16, as it was in Scotland during the referendum there. We've got Becky Maud, who turns 18 the day after the general election. Bad luck, Becky, so no vote for you. And Bethany Hunter, who's studying politics at the moment. So very good afternoon to you all. Let's start with you then. Beth, you're studying politics. What for you and what from your perspective are the main issues that the politicians should be discussing?
I think the main issues are the economy, the NHS, businesses naturally, but I think the issues that they should be discussing is tackling youth unemployment. As you say, it is incredibly high in this area, and there aren't a lot of graduate job prospects as well. So if we want to be retaining the young people who have so much potential and so much to give, then we need to focus on increasing jobs in this area, or else they're going to go elsewhere.
Yeah, personalise it for me, Beth. You know, what would you like to do and where would you like to do it? Would you like to stay in this area?
I would like to stay, but unfortunately I don't think I'm going to. I'd like to go away to uni to study politics with history and hopefully in the future get a job working for the European Parliament. And if I didn't get a job working for the European Parliament, hopefully working for the civil service in London. I'd love to be able to stay in this area. I love this area. I've grown up here. It's a really fab place for me. But unfortunately, if I do want to progress in a career that I want to go to, I feel I would have to go elsewhere. OK, Becky, let's hear from you. And a day too young to vote. You turn 18 on May the 8th. Yeah. My goodness me, bad luck. What about you, though? You're studying mainly business, isn't it? Yeah. You're looking for a career in finance. Is this area the place you think you could do that?
I feel like there is probably jobs out there, but if I want to really, get out there and do the best I can in the area, then I feel like I'll have to move away. But I've been looking at universities, and I don't really think that might not be the path that I end up going down, because the fees are just so high for people my age, and I don't get that much support. So I'm thinking about moving more.
OK. Just tell me about the debates within the Youth Parliament. We'll talk about the voting age in a moment or two, but the overview, are the old guys, and they mainly are guys, are they getting it right?
Well, I think it's very wrong of politicians to assume that young people are very disillusioned, because just because some of them aren't interested through the polls, it doesn't mean there aren't young people actively taking part. 80% of 16 and 17-year-olds registered to vote in the Scottish referendum. If that's not ringing alarm bells to them, to what England can do, lowering the voting age, then I don't know what else we can do. The Youth Parliament stands an excellent organisation, and we promote Vote 16 mental health, and this year living wage is our national campaign. We believe that everyone should have.
So, you think that if it were lowered the voting age, of course, 16, 17-year-olds would be taken more seriously, and they would slightly rebalance the priorities.
Well, I think they do, yeah. I think 16, 17-year-olds are ready to have that, but I mean, we get the opportunity to get married, we can have sex, you know, we can do a lot of things. We can't even vote for our MP, but we can start our life. Something to me that doesn't click.
Presumably you go along with that, Becky, as I say, missing it by, I mean, you'd be 17 in 364 days. I mean, people can see the line there and say, well, that's a bit arbitrary, but do you really think that, you know, 16-year-olds always have the maturity and the level of engagement with politics to cast their vote?
I wouldn't say they're always, like, because I'm 17 and I don't know fully, like, about politics.
Listen, it goes for a lot of people a lot older than you.
But I feel like I agree with Jess, like, really allows you to do like a lot of things that like, and people are constantly telling us like, oh, grow up, make your own decisions, yet we're not allowed to make a decision that influences our lives like massively.
Well, listen, I've got you three here who are engaged in politics, and of course you would be, Beth, wouldn't you, studying it? But I mean, do you really speak for your age group? Are people really taking an interest with 100 days to go and just politics, it seems, swirling around? Aren't a lot of people just really switching off, Beth?
I think a lot of people can sometimes switch off in circumstances, but I think that's got as much to do with the actual politicians that are in charge as we are. You know, when you see things, for example, such as Prime Minister's Question Time, when they're shouting at each other, like, I haven't even seen behaviour like that in a playground at certain times.
Well, if you did it here, you get thrown out, wouldn't you?
Exactly, and I just think when you see behaviour like that, they do have a lot of examples to set, and if they're going to set an example that sort of behaviour is acceptable, then young people probably are intimidated about getting involved. Like you said before, there's lots of men. If you feel that it's just a lot of men in suits and grey hair, no offence to you there at all, but no, if you think that's for
yeah, I've
Parliament...
taken it. I was going to say none taken.
But if you think that Parliament is full of them, a lot of young people are intimidated, and I think if they open themselves up a little bit more and showed that, yeah, politics is for the masses, to be involved in politics, you don't just have to be in Westminster.
Just very quickly, one word really from all three of you. Do you think any of the current parties actually speak for some of the concerns you've been voicing? What do you think, Jess?
Young people are disillusioned because of the people that are running it, as you said. Like,
so it's the people. What about, is it the parties? I mean, are there any of the parties you would like to vote for if you could, Becky? No. Okay. Finally.
If I was voting in the general election, I would vote Labour, I think, if I was going to vote a party, and I think I would definitely be interested in voting too. OK, listen, thank you all very much indeed. Very engaging. Beth, Becky, Jess, very good to talk to you all. Well, now, it's not just constituencies like Middlesbrough South and Cleveland East, or East Cleveland, it should be said, where employment could hold the deciding vote for people. We're in key areas around the UK as the countdown to the general election begins.
Let's play.
The very first series of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Weeknights at 9. Brand new and totally unseen to challenge.